Going live.
Hello, everybody. We are having technical difficulties, and it's my apologies. My name is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana. Also seen on the UPRN website, Roku, Facebook, YouTube, X, and other internet platforms. And it's really weird not being able to get this going, but we finally got it figured out. And we're really sorry about being late. It's been quite an evening for us because my friend Penelope Loftus,
That's me.
author of The Inner Solar System, and I have been getting stoned the way metaphysical people get stoned. I don't think that has anything to do with the technical difficulties. I don't know. Maybe our computer got stoned with us. So, how do metaphysical people get stoned? We don't do drugs. That's the first thing's off. That's off. Do we drink alcohol? Well, not on the showtime. We do things like these wonderful scarab beetles. And this one comes from Egypt,
Fresh.
fresh from
Fresh.
Egypt, activated in Egypt. And when you put it on your third eye, then you sort of get why we're a little bit out there tonight. As I have an out there guest, Penelope Loftus.
Hello. How
Good
you
to have you
doing?
on the show again,
Thank you.
Penelope.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been talking for an hour.
yeah, we've been talking about this for a while, and we're like several minutes late. So, Penny is a frequency activation
Yeah,
specialist,
therapist,
therapist,
astrologer.
astrologer, and it's not sound healing, which,
No.
as with these guys, you would think when people are using these things that you would be doing sound. That's what everybody calls it, is sound healing. However, you call it frequency
We call it
activations.
frequency therapy and frequency astrology. The inner solar system is about your personal frequencies and the frequencies of the planet. And everything's frequency, and it's a wave like this. And sound can be attached to it, but the sound isn't specifically the frequency. This is the frequency. This is 999. And that is the frequency.
Yeah, and all of this is good stuff, and you've been doing this for
A long
a
time.
long time.
Yeah. Been channeling a long time from the Andromedas and with the Council of Light. It's the Council of Three, which is, we have many councils in our aura all the way around. That's what the colours are that people see. But when you go closer, because we work with the inner solar system, we work with the inside, the quantum part, when we go in and in and in, which goes out and out and out. And so when we started channeling, they started channeling about how the energy centers are actually solar systems that mirror the solar system that we see in the sky.
So you're bringing in astrology along with
Energy work.
through
Mm.
frequencies.
Yes. So, for instance, if your sun is in Sagittarius, then it would be 963, the frequency of 963. And if it was on the 9th degree, it would be using the 999 frequency. You put those two together and it will activate within you and give you the messages that you need on your journey for where you are right now. It's very personal rather than just a frequency or a sound that can activate many. This is where you go deep and personal.
And it also begins with your astrological start. That's your astrological chart.
That's right, because on the day, time, and place you were born, you were a tiny, well, maybe not a tiny, but you were a flower of life. And in Sirius, there's a dimension there, And as a flower of life, you were nurtured in Sirius A, and then you went to Sirius B, spiraled down. Sirius A is the ascended divine feminine, which nurtures you, and then you go down to the ascended male divine. And then on the day, time, and place of your birth, you chose it specifically where you wanted to be, because it would give you specific frequencies for you to work with within this hologram, which we call reality.
So the reality would be the physical body, and then your energetic bodies around that, which would be connected to
Absolutely.
your
Your
planets.
higher self, or whatever you want to call it, is in Sirius A and B, but not the planet Sirius A and B, the bright star. It's in it's a dimensional frequency around there where people enter in. Anybody who incarnates on the planet comes through Sirius A and Sirius B to incarnate into this solar system. I was working with a dimensional, a different dimension in the Andromedas, which is to all the other universes, and this is where all the information for this was coming in. And I was asked very politely, do you still want to bring in this information? I said yes, and it started to come in. And it's amazing how frequency works, because it attracts what you want and what you require and desire in this lifetime. It brings it in for you, and it expands where you require to be expanded, to live our life, our reality in this hologram fully, with ease and joy.
So you're working at this picture, because this is a lot to take in. It, as the expression says, you can't take it in on one leg. You got to get your feet on the ground, paying attention, and not getting stoned by scarab beetles like we are, or just spray stuff that's
A frequency spray.
a 990 frequency, or a 639 frequency. So, when you had those things happen, you expand. You're not as coherent.
These frequency sprays that Bart was just showing you are specific recipes that came in from the Andromedas, and you spray it into your field, and that will activate anything to do with that frequency. So Bart works a lot with the inner, like I do, and so I gave him the 639, and it activates anything within his field on 639, and it works with the color strands within the white light.
So when you say the Andromedas, you mean the Andromeda system and the beings that live in that system on a planet and have incarnated onto this planet, as well as come visiting us regularly.
Well, what I work with is the Andromedan energy, which is, there is a massive council. It's near the Arcturian Council, and the energy that I'm working with is interdimensional, and it leaves energy at the Andromedas for me to pick up in this black box, you would call it. It's like a black box, and so I go into meditation, and then the energy just comes in.
So the black box is kind of like a telephone, so to speak, or internet connection. But it's this cosmic black box which connects this reality that the Andromedans know and you can access.
Yeah, it allows the energy from both dimensions to enter, and then it's quite interesting.
It is. And if you are one of those types of people that are getting, because this came to you kind of abruptly, but maybe we should just bring up the question, because some people go, I'm getting some really weird things and I don't have answers to them. I'm getting messages that don't make sense, and I can't.
That's really interesting, because it doesn't come in ABC.
No.
So I started writing everything down, and then I'd be asked to get all that information together, and suddenly you get like a download, which is like a picture. And suddenly everything, it's like if you're dyslexic and you put dyslexia glasses on. My sister's got them. When she looks at any print, she can't read it. But when she puts the dyslexia glasses on, it brings everything in. And that's exactly what this black box does. It brings the energy in, and then you can work with it. It's quite interesting. But this black box is within meditation. And the meditation that we were doing is on my website. So if you want to do the meditation, that's a place, it's a meeting place And it's a meditation given to me by my friend who is a psychic. She's amazing. Her information is all on the website as well.
And that would be dragon'seyehub.com,
It is.
where you can get in touch with that. It's really good to find mentors out there because a lot of things are breaking loose, breaking open for people. And we're all kind of new to all of this.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody that is, new to it needs advisors.
Well, it was interesting because I met her out of the blue. She knocked on the door, and all my reality went to a little black spot and then just opened up again. And I opened the door to this complete stranger who was coming to stay for a couple of nights because we've got, apartments that we rent out. And she just said, we need to talk. So one day she rang me up and she said, you need to come for a reading. So I said, okay. And she lives about an hour away, jumped in the car, went to see her. And she has this crystal ball and it was rolling out of her hands. And she said, there are beings here. I don't even, because she talks directly to your spirit guides. And so she said, I've never seen energy like this before. I know it's for the highest good. I know it's all good. But she said, I've never seen this before. And she said, and they're asking, before you incarnated, you wanted to do this work. Are you still up for it? Because they're busy. And I said, yes. And then that's when it started 12 years ago.
Wow.
And we've just channeled ever since and still are channeling.
That would be like 2012.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so do you believe that you came from Andromeda itself, like
No.
that's where you're from? No, they're just helping you.
Yeah, that's a meeting place. That's like where you go for coffee and have a chat.
Well, let's just ask the big question here. What do you think they're trying to bring to people on Earth?
So the message was when they first came in is they go around different universes to upgrade any astrological information when the time is right and they're going into a new paradigm. And of course, 2012 was when we started playing with the new energies on Earth because she's already ascended. She's already got these frequencies and now it's time for us to connect and to work with them. That's why sacred sites are changing, all the energies are changing, everything on planet is changing, including ourselves. And so they said the time is now, we need to start bringing this energy in. This was all planned before I incarnated and I was the man on the ground. And here we go. And so this is why we brought the book out. And of course, I've never written a book before. I didn't even have anybody who could, edit it. And suddenly I met a new friend and she said, my publisher would love that. And boom, the book's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny when you start to work with things that are much bigger than you, like the Andromedas and Andromeda box. Maybe you could even say with a higher power such as Yeshua or something, or, the list goes on and on. That becomes part of your energetic field.
Yes.
And therefore, whatever you're directed for, if it's something that is in flow with a greater consciousness, like I was told today, you got to be in flow with the new age, this new astrological age, the age of Aquarius. If you're in the flow of that and you're helping it expand and wind, everything's going to go with you. This is what was told to me today.
And so this is the new astrology. It's cosmic. We're starting to teach it for people who want to become frequency therapists. I've just finished the handbook, so we're good to go. And that's all on the website as well.
So what would a frequency therapist start to do when they first started out?
So a frequency therapist is someone who can take your data from and you don't have to be an astrologer because you're taught everything to be a frequency therapist. So you take the time, place and date of your client. You then are able to retrieve the information you need. And then we have a little chat for about an hour or two about your energy and about what your frequency reads. Then we get you on the massage table, we get you all cozy, and then we play every single frequency, which there are 26 at the moment, to every single energy center, and then you are completely centered. So when I work with a guy, we're doing a retreat in Sedona in April. He is an interventionist, and he's amazing. And he used to do soul retrieval, and then we met. And so he does the interventions, and I play the frequencies after the intervention, which brings them straight back to center and brings all their light in, and they can then walk forward. It's almost like sewing up after surgery.
So if I had something like a glaring mother issue, for example, that's kind of
glaring
common. Glaring mother issue.
A
Like,
glaring
I'm
mother issue.
really mad at my mom.
Okay.
That witch, that yada yada yada,
Yeah.
and I'm not gotten over that. Would you address something like that?
We do. We address it from a different. We give a bigger perspective. So we talk about how you, as a human being, incarnated and planned everything down to the family. Before this, I was a past life regressionist, and so I understand past lives. And we do past life frequency therapy now with your personal frequencies, because we can bring your guides in. But when you're working with, you would call mother issues, these are issues often karmic, but the end of karma is it's sliced in two right now. It's dropping off the cliff, and so we're now coming into a time of cut cords, cut the contracts. You don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
And we also give a bigger perspective where you take ownership. We're going from a paradigm where if you needed to be taught, you needed a teacher. If you were ill, you went to a doctor. If you needed this, you went to someone outside of you. We're now going from the inside out. So we would look at it from your perspective and say, why did you place a mother like this within your journey, which is this life? And when you look at it from that perspective, suddenly something shifts and you take ownership from it. And then you can see actually what is the one thing that you could have learned from this, just one thing. And if you can learn one thing, you can do what the team say from Andromeda, which is you can invoke the three. And to invoke the three, you're using a delta frequency, which goes from physical to non-physical to physical. So you can let that go, and it leaves, it gently leaves. I did this. There was a lady that was in my field years ago, and she had issues and took it out on other people, especially if she saw a weakness, like being soft or kind or gentle. She saw it as a weakness, not a strength. And so I was confused, and my guides kept on saying, what can you learn from this? Suddenly, after 6 weeks, I found something that I learned. They said, just invoke the three. Do you know, she lives in the same village. She's now moved. She lived in the same village and didn't see her for 6 months. We lived in a tiny village because my field had said, we're done with that lesson. We don't need it anymore. And then I did get to see a collective gathering at a meal, and all the dimensions, all the perspective had changed. Suddenly I was empowered. She wasn't so unempowered, and we just met and we giggled and we walked away. So talking of like issues, like you say, we just try and give a different perspective.
Almost like, from what I'm gathering from you, because this is a complex issue. I mean, whenever you talk about a parental issue, and I'm always thinking about, well, the one big bugaboo that everybody has at some level is anger. So when we take something with anger with a parent, it's exactly what you said. There's always this karmic lesson of, well, we had to learn what this role was to get that in. And then as that's identified, you're literally given it a new power so it can learn, you can be empowered to move forward. And that's a lot of times what's lacking in consciousness is how, people are trying to heal from something and they don't have a power to move it forward sometimes.
And sometimes we're all about empowering people and giving it back to them. You don't come to us, like a frequency therapist to be healed, because you can heal yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Tatiana.
Oh, hello, Tat.
Yeah. But sometimes you need that impetus energy. And I think that's sometimes when you see what the big problem that you've been struggling with all your life, and you got it cleared, or you got it and you're looking it straight in the eye, how do you move forward beyond that?
Well,
You know,
yeah. Well, then once
and
you find out, okay, this is what I've learned from this, so great, I
yeah,
can move forward. You invoke the three, where you just draw a three in front of you. I do this in the shower every day, and I go, okay, I was in this situation. I'm talking to myself. I was in this situation, but I've learned this from this, so we don't need to go there again. And it just slowly dissipates from your
mm,
field, from your hologram. And when you're working with your frequencies, there are two places, your Earth star and just here in your solar plexus are two places to release energy from. So I would suggest to people to invoke these areas every time you felt anything coming in, tickling you. Oh, remember your
oh
mother?
yeah.
Yeah. And you'd be going, oh, it's coming in again. So invoke.
And this one is so habitual. The solar plexus is where we take our emotions, in particular our negative emotions. We'll have our greatest repressed emotion in the back, and then we'll have a reactionary emotion in front. And if we vote the three, we're basically cleansing that. And therefore, you cleanse it enough, it's going to clear the pattern. But you've been doing it for, many people, years and years and years. Therefore, it's a big habit to
It is.
overcome.
But it's also you fill it in with a new habit. I invoke this, which is infinite release. I am. You start with I am infinite release. Your Earth Star, I am release. I release. You're starting with a new habit,
Yeah.
and it is quick and it does work. I've done it myself. I had to do all of this. I had to do for 3 years to completely, to get rid of years and years of walking through what I thought was reality, which isn't. And now I'm creating my own reality, and that's when it all changes. And
Yes.
I now work with people all over the world, and it's amazing. It
Yes.
truly is.
It is. Thank you, Martin. Just was on this. And let's just go to a more advanced level with this, because this is kind of where you start,
Hmm.
and you're getting this work in the body, but also in your energetic fields, and going into the past lives, and you're starting to clean up, so to speak. We've opened,
Streamline,
streamlined.
streamlining.
So, what does it feel like to be out of those mundane struggles? Because most people are in a mundane struggle. They're fighting these patterns, and as they work through adulthood, they get better and better. But there comes this point where you hit a peak, you know, and you've hit enough of these peaks, and all of a sudden you're always at a peak.
Hmm.
It's a beautiful level of it.
It is, and it's so simple to begin with. Just start with I am.
Yeah.
It opens the heart. I
But,
am.
but my question is what does it feel like when you're there?
Well, we're never completely there. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
We get from one mountain range to the next.
We don't
But
mean to be bragging, but
no,
it's that we both done this type of work for years and
yeah,
years, and there comes a place that you become
aware.
aware, detached.
Yes. And sometimes, I sometimes have to read a room because I'm so detached. I have to read the emotional room because I forget that I'm on Earth and it is human. And it's quite interesting. I
You,
try not. I mean, it doesn't mean that you're cold. You're compassionate, but you're not taking on that energy. I used to take on other people's energy,
mhm,
and so now it's more of compassion.
yeah.
You come to me, and let's try and work, and I'll try and let's try and empower you in some way. Or someone will say to me, come to me, like you're always
Hmm.
raising up. And then at one point, you'll find that your energetic centers will crystallize. And once you get crystallization, that means they won't go to that earth level anymore. It's going more cosmic and cosmic and cosmic. And so what you find is things that did, like you were saying, things that did really affect you, suddenly you go, wow, that doesn't affect me anymore. And you sat there and you're thinking, wow, that really doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. Might be a little niggle now and again, but it really doesn't. And then you go on to your next set of mountain ranges. Yeah.
Indeed. There's so many. I mean, to be on Earth is to be a challenge, just like trying to turn on the computer to the program and not having a new problem with it that you had never seen before on the program. That's what happened earlier to us today. And the more you're detached, all of those old patterns of freaking out or being
Panicking.
angry or feeling ashamed that you didn't get it right aren't there.
We were both just looking at the computer going, oh,
how do we get this? How do we get this?
Who should we message?
Then we figured out. And we also were under scarab stone. So
And
that stuff played into fact. And another thing that I'm forgetting to tell you that you are with Pennie Loftus, author of The Inner Solar System. And my name is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, at Roku, Facebook, YouTube, X, and the UPRN website. And so I had a great question for you of that. You know, when you talk about the crystalline awareness, to me, I just interpret that your body always feels like it's light, like there's light inside of you, and it's like an inner flashlight or something. But no, it feels like light is always there, and you can tune into it anytime. And that's a lot what this frequency work is.
So so when you start working with your frequency, you can invoke it. You don't have to play it. That's the difference. It's a frequency wave and the sound is attached, so you can listen to it, but you can invoke it, excuse me, Bart, or you can spray it. You know, this is, which one is this? This is 888 Feminine Divine. And you just squirt it. Sorry, Bart, we're off again. We're off again. And then that ignites the inner shaman, the 888, and it's abundance, and you know that frequency wave now will be working with us both.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be sound. That's the difference between frequency work and sound work. I did someone who's deaf, and he felt absolutely everything. And he said for 2 days it took him a while to come down. You know, which was great for me because this is what information's coming in, and I'm like, really?
Oh, it reminds me of when I was a school teacher.
Yeah.
I work with the deaf.
Well, boom.
Multi-handicapped deaf, autistic, behavior problem children. And I was in Access Consciousness at the time, and they had an abuse CD, and it was very powerful. It just removed abuse out of people's bodies. Great tool, and I would play it like at the lowest sound possible. Didn't want to get caught in the classroom doing metaphysical woo-woo stuff by my principal. Well, she said she didn't want to hear it about it, so I said I took that literally, so I turned it way down so she had no chance of hearing about it. Though I would play it, it would come out as a vibration to these deaf students, and they all got better. Their language got better. Yeah, it's all about a vibration of whatever frequency. I could get something out of my heart and focus a lot of light into my heart and give that to a person and send it to them, and they would have an opportunity to change.
Yeah.
And the key word is opportunity.
That's it. It's empowerment. It's your choice. It's free will. This realm, this earthly realm, this solar system goes right up to the Milky Way, and it's the place of free will. You have to ask. You have to bring your guides in. You have to ask, and that's the key.
And you have to learn.
Yeah.
It's like there's a choice, and there's also an awareness. Like, oh, this is my issue that I hold in my gut, and I'm reacting to it all the time. And you have to catch yourself in the moment when you are in that shit, so to speak, and go, oh, there I am.
Yeah.
I did it again. And you don't like scold yourself or get mad at yourself or go into a futility downward spiral. No, you recognize it and maybe laugh at it. Go, Did it again.
Hello, friend.
And I think I'll go see Penny and work on this. And maybe her vibrational work can help me move this a little bit so I can have a different perspective towards it.
Yeah.
You know, it takes both people with that.
It does. It's a relationship. It's a conversation, and the human. I mean, I know I'm human. A new thing comes along, or you suggest something, and it's a no. But then you go and then you think about it and think, okay, maybe I'll try it. So don't beat yourself up if you say a no to begin with. I did for a while, and I tested everything. Everything that came in. It was like, really. I mean, like, this frequency is remembrance, and it's the color turquoise.
And what's that frequency? What number is
999.
it? 999.
And the color turquoise is the frequency of 999 for remembrance.
Yeah. And so if you didn't want to pay attention to any of this,
Yeah.
and you ping this thing, it would have a little bit of effect, but not as much effect as you were in this question about, where do I feel this in my body?
Mm-hmm.
And what is it stimulating? What's repressed? All of those
So
things.
I can tell you a story from Egypt.
Oh, yes, that's exactly where I
Yes.
wanted to go, because Penny just went to Egypt. Now, we are in a magical land here in Southwest France. And of course, most of you who listen to my show know that I broadcast out of here. This year's been like a 5-month streak. I'll be coming back to Austin in a couple of weeks. New energy, new possibilities. However, we all talk about, what do we talk about in France? About, well, where would we got to go if we're not in France?
Egypt. And it was the last day. In fact, Tatiana, there was me, there was Vanessa, and Valerie, and we went to Hakeem, who's been on your show.
Yes, Hakeem.
Hi, Hakeem.
Iwan was the tour guide who's been
He's
on my show.
amazing. He's amazing. Such light codes coming out of him ancestrally. So he said, come to, because he lives in Giza, you look down the bottom of his road and there is the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx looking over the wall. Seriously. And we went to the shop, and his uncle was there as a stonemason, and he was playing the lute, and he'd created this, it's called an Egyptian flute out of bamboo. And because he'd made it and it was for him, he'd inscribed it with a scorpion on it. And I immediately went to Scorpio, and I said, that's 852. And he said, what do you mean? And I said, it's the frequency 852 that you've inscribed on your flute, so when you play that, you'll be going into subconscious.
So if you write the number 852 on the flute.
Yeah, well, he put a scorpion, a picture of a scorpion.
Which was the symbol of 852.
Which is a symbol of 852 on the collective. Sorry, yeah. I get carried away.
No, I just want to explain it.
Yeah, thank you. And then he said, what do you mean? And I said, well, it'd be interesting. I've got it on my phone, because I've always got it on my phone, all the different frequencies. And I played it to his ear. And he teared up and he said, I feel it right here on my heart, on his right-hand side. So I said, interesting. It'd be interesting if that was 852. I said, would you mind giving me your birth date, time and place, and I'll get your chart up, because I can see it instantly. So we brought it up, and this is where your Chiron is, which is working with your DNA. It's about self-love within the heart, because there's 5 areas within the heart. And sure enough, it was 852, and he was astounded. And then he said he would never move away from the Giza plateau. And as I was coming into Giza, this is the frequency of 963. So I said, it'd be interesting to see what your Earth star is, because you will never leave Giza. And sure enough, his Earth star was 963. This guy was so in tune with his own frequencies, but he didn't realize it. And it was great talking to this guy about frequencies, and we're going to get in touch, and I'm going to do a chart for him, because they were so gracious. But it was just another confirming story from an absolute stranger.
So the more that you're aware that you are
of
in
yourself,
that attunement, that you're matching, then you can probably magnify it even more.
And it's also very confirming and validating to the person, because you may have, somebody may say, I don't know, move to Ireland with me. No, because Giza is the only place I'm going to be. So
this is such an intriguing question. it kind of goes, well, how deep can you go into that particular frequency? You know, it's not just like one thing, but it maybe opens different dimensions, realities of your knowing magnified by the Giza.
Well, it is
Am I going along the right line?
You are, because 963, I mean, there's the Giza Plateau with the Sphinx, and it's been there, you know, the Great Pyramid. They were there. I mean, I left there when I was in a different form than a human 12,000 years ago, and that's when it all closed down and then became Pharaoh pyramids. But it was quite interesting because 963 is the base of the pyramid. That's the frequency, and the 963 is the frequency of connection. And when I was there in non-human form, the pyramids were interdimensional. There was a thread of energy, and there was beside it there was crystal bed with water, and you dissembled. You came away from the physical body. Your energy came out, and then it became part of a thread, and you could go anywhere. They were like airports. But interdimensional airports.
To share a little bit about Pennie is that this is, tell me if I'm telling too much.
No, tell us more.
Maybe you'll just slap me, or I don't know.
No.
This is the first incarnation as a human, and she had a lot of incarnations in Egypt. And this trip that she just returned from Egypt was a homecoming. First time she's been back, who knows how long. We're talking
12,000 years.
12,000 years.
Minutes.
And people were coming up to her and saying, "Welcome home."
Yeah, one guy in the souk, he said, "Welcome home," and he was clearly channeling energy. Yeah, a guy at the pyramid. He gave me that. Normally they're harassing you, and he gave me and all my friends one, and said, "You were here in 2002," and I said I wasn't. And he wouldn't have it. It's amazing.
That was 12,002 years ago, though.
That's what he meant.
Maybe so.
That's what he meant. I wasn't listening right. Yeah. But it's extraordinary. It really is.
Yeah. And so we're really talking about some people functioning on some different levels of planes. And if you do know your frequencies and you're playing them, maybe you could really have an affinity to one of the frequencies and just see how far it could take you. Maybe back to, let's not say back, but forward to how you exist in other worlds, or how do you exist in your core cosmic self, so to speak.
Well, it will take you so far, because of where we are, up to 16th dimensions. So when you have a frequency session, it's like a meeting of all your dimensional selves that all suddenly get centered. And so you can get an awful lot of information in for yourself when you're actually having a frequency session. I've had many epiphanies from people, and some people have fallen asleep because that's what they needed. It's different for everybody.
Yeah. Well, what I like to do with my tuning forks is I'll take a frequency and I'll hit it, and then I'll see where it goes into my body, that vibration. And I'll hold the tuning fork for 5 to 10 minutes. It's still vibrating, but I can feel the sensitivity in my body just still vibing to it. And I want to go into the hypersensitive worlds and realities that are tuned into it. And it leads me into greater sensitivity. I don't really look for stories, so to speak. Like, I don't really want to know where I was 12,000 years ago or 20,000. What I want to know is, can that vibration come alive now?
Yeah. And I had to understand for me to go forward in this work. That's the only reason I went back. But now with past life regression, lots of people are going into their future selves. That's where we are at now.
Ooh.
It's quite interesting. A lot of people going into the future self.
What's that like?
It's amazing. I mean, I've done a couple with myself, and it's great. It's great. It's interesting. But I mean, with frequency itself, I mean, you can go anywhere.
So in a future self, that means that your body in the future is vibrating to all of these higher vibrations. And this is, you know, because we are spiraling up as a species. That's something that many of us never believe, but our types really believe that, yes, in the future, it is much higher frequency because that's what astrology tells us. So we can tap into that. Is that?
And it's true. I mean, right now, a lot of people are getting tinnitus. And I used to get tinnitus, and there's nothing wrong with my ears. But now, since I've been doing the frequency, they're coming in and I'm recognizing the frequency, I'm acknowledging it, and then it stops. So it's quite, and sometimes it'll come in this side, and I think, oh, that's to move forward with. This one, oh, it's coming in. It's the left is coming in, that's going out. And when you work with these, you suddenly start to be able to create your own reality. You can start to manifest more, but you have to start with you. You have to start within.
So I could take some of the natural frequencies that are very strong inside of me and learn how to develop them and own them and feel them vibrate,
Yeah.
and then apply them to whatever I'd like to create in life.
Yeah. So as I'm walking down the street, maybe I don't like heights, but I'm getting over it. I've been to the pyramids, and I'm going down the stairs, and I go, oh, I might fall, but now I shut it down. I go, no, I'm not going to fall, and I don't. So I shut things down all the time as I'm walking in this reality. I shut them down all the time. And it's, or I'll start getting a headache. So I tell the cells that I love them. I tell the contracted energy to expand. And then I shut it down and say, this is not for me. Thank you for coming to me, giving me this headache, but I don't need you anymore. And it will just go. Once you start working with intention's the key. You've got the frequency and intention. It's quantum. It's fast.
It's fast.
It
happens.
Fast. Yeah.
It happens. You told me of a tool, and we only got a few minutes to talk about this, but you were saying, when I have a pain inside of me or something that doesn't feel right, I'll ask my body, what color does this need?
So this is the next level of white light. We bring in light, we bring in white light, but that white light is made of many different color frequencies, like a rainbow. And so this hand is 639, which is the frequency of color threads. So just recently I've been asking, say for instance, I don't know, I've got an ache in this hand, I don't know, and I just say, what color frequency do you need? What color thread? And suddenly I'll see these colors coming out my hands, and I think, well, how long do I have to do this? Suddenly it ties itself in a little bow that says I'm finished, and then it will just go. And because anybody can heal this body, anybody, but we've got to start going within so we can understand this.
One of the things that you want to avoid is that when something's gone wrong, don't define it as wrong.
No, give it love. Let it expand.
Yes.
Say thank you for showing me.
Yes.
But that being said as well, there is a place, for doctors as well. You co-create together. He hasn't got all the power, or she hasn't got all the power. And it's a co-creation. You go within, you find the issue. What can I do about it? Then do I need external help? And it's because we are in the middle. We're in a void, going between two dimensions. We are in a void. So it's a time of the old breaking away and the new going forward. But they are still intertwined a little.
They are. They are. I was just at this place called Le Orgue. It's a place of just huge light. That would be Orgue, close to Milas, France. And I had a toothache. And it was a bone up above my tooth that was out of place, because I went to a dentist before I returned to France, and that's what they told me. Got x-rays. That is giving me a lot of pain. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to endure this for 2 or 3 weeks before I get back to the States just to start considering surgery. Didn't sound like a really good paradigm. So at the org, I brought all of that light into that too. I said, can we have something different? I didn't try to define it, but I just said, can we change this where I'm not so much struggling with this? And light came in, lots of light. My tooth doesn't hurt anymore.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's about a week ago. So I will go back to the dentist and see what they have to say. However,
And that's how it works. It's an
Yeah.
intertwining. Yeah.
yeah, it is really fun. Um, so one final message, and that is, as tradition is, what would you like to tell people in party words? This is Penelope Loftus, author of The Inner Solar System. Also, you can catch her at dragon'seyehub.com
Hmm.
and catch into some of the great coaching and classes that she's doing and other concepts that she's teaching. And my name is Bart Sharp. You are on Becoming Quantum Conscious. And this is United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 105.3 out of New Orleans, Louisiana, and also on Roku, Facebook, X, YouTube, and the UPRM website. Next week, we got another out there show. She's also from France.
Good friend.
I love French interviews. I love American interviews too, but there's something cool about the French. They see things differently. But Angelique Pigenet with the Cosmic Midwife.
She's amazing.
Yeah, yeah. It's really interesting. There's a community of us here that are very, we see things differently, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice to be a part of the community here. Small community, but it's a small area. There's less than 150,000 people here. So maybe that explains it. Anyway, what would you like to leave as parting words of wisdom?
Parting words of wisdom. Being amazing is the new normal. Get with it. Go within. Get your frequencies. You know, it's a frequency directory on the website. You just click the orange button and play and see how you feel. The guy in Egypt did, and it went straight to his heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Just activate, practice, keep activating, and stay with it, and change will happen.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.